being recorded for the open
Sure.
public session
Yeah.
part of this. These meetings were always, these first meetings are always a challenge because we don't have a chair. So I typically play the role of chair for a minute or two, just to get us started. So I will do that. The first order of business on the agenda is the election of a committee chair and clerk. You know, this, as far as the question I usually get with this is, what does that entail? In terms of the election of in terms of the committee chair, it's obviously someone to do what I'm doing now, which is calling the meeting to order. Is this on, by the way? Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, is calling the meeting to order, and then sort of presiding over the meeting and, sort of running the meetings from start to finish. We anticipate that there will probably be, today, one more, and maybe one more after that. So it's not it's an important task of, having this screening committee, but it isn't an overly onerous time commitment for the members. And the chair is the one who has to sort of be the one that runs it, not me. So, that being said, I will ask if anyone is interested in being chair or anyone wants to nominate someone to be chair.
I'd like to nominate Cindy Brown since she's on the Personnel Board.
I currently chair the Personnel Board,
Yep.
so I'm happy to fill that role. I know there's not a lot of heavy lifting involved, so I'm happy to
Okay.
do the procedural process, go through the procedural process. That's fine.
Anybody want to second that?
I will second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. It's yours now. I told you, I'm only doing this for a minute or two. This is
The agenda?
Yep.
Wonderful, okay. So I guess then we can,
Clerk.
call the meeting to order. Had we officially done that? I guess we did, right?
Yes.
Yep. Clerk, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the benefits of being elected to chair is that I can't be elected to clerk. So now I will open up to nominees and suggestions for clerk, which would involve taking minutes, which I would not suspect would be very onerous either. Many of our discussions will be in executive session until a little bit later in the process. So we don't have to keep very detailed notes on personal matters regarding each candidate, but just have a record of who we have interviewed and perhaps some of the salient points. Bernie, if you have anything to add to that.
No, it's generally, we that's exactly it. Just to keep track of that, and someone that can sign off that
Right.
we had these meetings. And generally, what we advise is the topics that are discussed, or the questions that are asked, as you'll see when we talk about the interview process, we break it down into certain topics of interview questions, and we leave it at that.
Right,
Those are the things that we talk about.
yeah, good.
Question for you, Bernie. On the executive session, when we go in, are there notes taken during that discussion?
Very,
Because you'll have candidates' names in there. Is that, those?
those we utilize some other identifier for that. Yep. Minutes should remain confidential,
Okay.
In the executive session minutes, right?
forever.
I think for purposes of sort of process, that when we get to the candidates, particularly those that are going to be interviewed, we give them a number.
Exactly.
Right,
Candidate number 1, candidate number 2. That way, we know who they are, but we're not getting into violating their confidentiality by having personal discussions about them. But yet, we're going to, at some point, need to have some of the key points without. But I mean, usually you do that by strengthening, by emphasizing the strength of the person you picked, or ultimately, or the people you recommend to the select board. as opposed to why you didn't pick
Correct.
person A, B, and C.
Exactly. Yep. And that's generally what we advise too, is by tier, and I've given you a list there that we'll go over, but by tier and number in each one.
Okay.
Okay?
So after we, let-
Susan, would you be interested in,
I prefer not at this time.
okay,
I've always hated taking minutes. Always have hated taking minutes.
I'll volunteer.
Thank you.
thank you, chief.
He has his notebook out already.
I'm already
and
taking
Already
notes.
taking
Okay,
notes,
great.
so.
And I'll work with you on these.
I appreciate that.
We have draft ones that we've used in
Okay.
the community, so.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Anyone have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, great. All those in favor?
all right,
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? Thank you, chief.
You're welcome.
so when do we move to go into executive session?
Not yet.
Okay.
Well, you're chomping at the bit, aren't you?
Got some conflicts
So
tonight.
the next item on the agenda is presentation by Community Paradigm Associates on the town administrator's search process and the general results. So Bernie.
Okay. Yeah, I just like, want to give a presentation or a very brief summary of how this process has unfolded until now, and what the results have been, so that you as a committee, obviously, you know what the results have been, but you may be curious as to how we got where we got. And obviously, the public watching needs to know, or should know, how we got here. When we were engaged some months ago, the first thing we did, as Jake and Craig know, is we reached out to members of the board, and we worked with the current town administrator in pulling together information that we utilized to develop a position statement. The position statement is a 4-page document that we generally develop for every one of our searches, that outlines a bit of information about the community, the form of government, the position, what the current challenges and opportunities are facing the town, what the ideal candidate would look like if we could find that ideal person, and then the instructions as to how to apply. We use it, as you might guess, as a tool to market the position and to get people to apply. Following the discussions we had with the board members and town administrator and the information we gathered and the materials we gathered, we developed that position statement, which I believe I sent a copy to all of you. It resided on our webpage during the recruitment period. We think it's a great process just to go through in general, because it gives, it's been, 4 years since Jim was hired. The town of Westport isn't exactly the same as it was 4 years ago. Issues are different, needs are different, so we think it's good for the town to kind of have that period of self-reflection as to what they need now. We use it, as I said, to market the position, and then you can use it, and the board can use it, to help evaluate the candidates. Based upon what everyone said, how do these candidates match up to the issues facing the town and the needs of the town and what the ideal candidate looks like? As I say, it resided on our webpage, and we drove people to it through our recruitment process, which consisted of advertising, as you might expect, through the Massachusetts Municipal Association, through the International City and County Management Association, which represents the profession across the country, outside of the country as well, but we weren't interested necessarily in pulling someone in from another country, but it does reach all of the managers across the United States. We also circulated the position on social media, particularly through the LinkedIn platform. We sent it off to the colleges and universities in the region that have a master's degree in public administration, which is generally the degree that's sought for this type of position. We have our own database of people who we're aware might be interested in this position. That's based upon a couple of different sources. One, every manager or assistant manager in the state. We have them all in our database. We also have a number of people that we've been working with here in Massachusetts and outside of Massachusetts that are interested in being here. So we circulated it to those people as well. We're also, a couple of us in Community Paradigm are involved with the Suffolk University Mass Municipal Association certificate program in local government management and leadership. It's a graduate program that is developing the next generation of managers. So we circulated it to a number of people that have graduated from that program over the last 5 to 10 years. And then we did direct outreach based upon, as I like to say, or actually I like to quote because someone used it to describe the way we do the job that we do. We don't just put an ad out to trap people to apply. We actually go out and hunt people. And we contacted about 24 people that we knew were in this area, were in this region, that might be interested in this job. And we went out and contacted them through email, phone calls, however we could get a hold of them, to tell them about the position, to take some of their questions in the hopes that they would apply for the position. The end result of that was you had 29 applicants. I meant to check, I could check it before I leave today, but I think the numbers are better than the last time we did a search, which is unusual, I'll tell you that it's become a very difficult market over the last number of years. It was difficult in 2021 when Jim was hired. It's become even more difficult. About 75 to 80% of the state, the communities in the state have turned over in the last 5 or 6 years. In terms of their manager positions. And so it's very much a seller's market as opposed to a buyer's market. And
Why do you think that that's true? Why do you think there was a greater interest?
for Westport?
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure. I think it's a combination of there aren't many positions in this region that have necessarily opened up. I mean, Dartmouth went through 2 searches a year or so ago.
Right.
Fairhaven just went through a search. But there aren't a lot in this area. The other is that I think Westport has a nice stable reputation, which is helpful. And I like to think that we played a role in sort of spreading the word and getting people interested. I think you have some, obviously it's in the eye of the beholder, so once we get into the discussion, you'll make the decision as to whether you think the candidates are strong, but I think we have some good, strong candidates for you to look at. And, all you really need is one, but it's always good to have more that you can look at. But I feel like, I was pleased with the results. We've done some other searches recently for some communities closer to Boston, which has been much more challenging to get applicants than here. So I was pleased with that. So that's my report on the process and where we are. And our hope is that today, working with all of you, you can identify those that you want to interview. We can schedule some interviews for a couple weeks from now. And then narrow that, hopefully we'll be able to select 5 to 7 that you want to interview, and then from that, narrow it down to 3 or 4 that will be sent on to the select board. So.
Anyone have any questions, any additional questions for Bernie?
One quick question. In your other communities that you see, what is the final number generally that you present to the select board? Is it sometimes a top 2 candidate? Can it be 3? Can it be 4?
It can be 2. We recommend against 2. It's by law, you have to choose 2 people to move on.
Okay.
2 is a dangerous number, though. 3 is better, and 4 is. I wouldn't go more than 4. If you get more than 4, they start to get cold feet because they don't want to be one of only a 20% chance of or less of getting the position. They like a 1 in 3 chance of 33% chance.
And obviously, at that point, it's public. And so, do you have issues with, if you had 4, where they're concerned with if they're employed somewhere else or being in that public setting and impacting their job at another location?
Absolutely. They when we when you make your decision of who's moving forward, we notify them of their selection. We then do a background check of them, which includes a Corey check and then checking their education, verifying their employment. But we also, and you'll see when we talk about the candidates, we know quite a bit about some of these candidates already, so that we can help you steer clear of any problems. But what we like to do is contact references that in some cases just reiterate what we already know about the candidates, but it gives us the perspective of those references as to their strengths, their weaknesses, and gives us some stories that we can then present to the board about the types of projects that they've worked on. That becomes important because then that gives the board, the select board, when they're doing their interviews, something to fall back on. They can say to a particular candidate, okay, we see that we've been told that you dealt with a particular problem within your community, that it might be financial, it may be infrastructure, it might be planning, that reflects how you go about making decisions and how you go about doing your work. Tell us about it. So that it sort of gives us that extra bit of information that we can, and I'll tell you, there are times that we hear things from their references, their references that they're giving to us. We've also do some sort of other work finding out about these people if we don't already know. But you will be surprised that sometimes we have, the people we have doing these reference checks generally come from a background in journalism, and they have a great way of talking to people and digging down into people's, getting people to say things that we need to hear. And then we try to present that to the board, either on paper or in other communications that we have with individual board members.
Great.
Very good.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
For Bernie, no?
Yep.
Okay, so,
Legal issues.
yes, discussion of relevant public laws.
Yeah. The big one is what happens in executive session stays in executive session.
Absolutely, right.
That's, I guess if I had to, sort of summarize, that's the big one. There are documents that will be public records, but resumes are not public records until they're made finalists. The listing of questions and all of that will be made public down the road, but, so there were public records elements to this, and there are executive session, and we can't violate that. All of these people applied in confidence, and we don't want to jeopardize their employment, because it's the right thing to not jeopardize their employment. But also beyond that, the town has to consider that in the future, managers have memories, and if a town is seen as being one that releases this type of information, it could have ramifications down the road.
So tagging on to what Jake was talking about, do you get permission from a candidate prior, if we're going to make that candidate a finalist, you seek permission from them first before you make it public?
We seek permission from them to move them forward.
Right.
And and do the background checks.
Right, okay.
And then we let them know when the name is going public. So for instance, we're doing the town of Great Barrington right now. All the names went public today. All of the finalists were notified early this week, or reminded early this week, that their names are going public today.
That's almost as far away on the other side of the state as you can go.
It is.
It's a long ride on the Mass Pike.
It is. I've got
very-
stories.
Yeah,
so.
and that's a long way.
Yep.
Okay, good. Any questions? And I think everyone at this table, except I had a little bit of a hiccup, is very familiar with the public document laws and public meeting laws. So we will not have discussions via email about any particular candidate or anything in general.
Right. Right. Yep, anything along those lines, anything I send out, I will try to remember. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
I will try to remember to blind copy everybody.
Right.
As opposed to
Oh, I see,
And
okay.
that way, when you respond, reply to all, it'll only come to me.
Okay. Great. Scheduling next meeting and interviews. I believe you had sent out a suggested
Yep.
list. Let's see, I have it here somewhere.
Let's see. I'd suggested the week of the
6th was it?
13th.
The 13th.
Yep, because I know that there's some people that are going to be away next week.
Right, so the
Or the next 2
13th,
weeks. 13th is
that's the
Columbus
holiday, right?
Day.
Yeah, that's the
Yes. Yep.
holiday, right?
I have, right now, I have the 14th entirely free. I have the 15th, and when I say entirely, I mean, depending on how you want to do it, we can meet
Early in the
8:30 in the
morning.
morning and go till we end. You know, I've got the 15th, I can be here at 4 PM. We could do that late afternoon and evening. And the 16th, I can do from 3:30 till whenever.
And the candidates, you were basically setting aside an hour per candidate, or is that what it is?
So you're saying 14th, 15th, and 16th,
Right.
with some limited availability for you on the 15th.
The 15th and 16th, I'm really just late afternoon into the evening.
Which is, that would be my case on the 16th. The 14th is wide. 14th is what, a Tuesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday. I have a conflict meeting that evening that begins at 6:30. So if possible, we could do it.
I'm good
Sure.
between 1 and 4.
I'm fine anytime up until 6 o'clock, as long as I can get
No
to.
earlier
No,
on the 14th?
no.
Okay.
1 and 4 actually works for me as well. I have a couple meetings that morning
Okay.
as well.
So maybe if we looked at 1 to 4, that gets us 1, 2, 3.
Three.
That gives us 3 interviews.
Yep.
And then maybe try to do 3 or 4 on either the
15?
15th or 16th.
Okay,
15th again, it would be afternoon for me.
can you do
16th
after 4? Okay,
15th? Yes,
it's a Wednesday,
yes.
because you're available after 4.
Yeah, I have to be in
Okay.
Lowell that morning, and then I'll be driving down from Lowell.
I'm good. Right
Okay.
now, yeah, I mean, there are conflicts on the 15th, but I'm looking at the ones that are major conflicts and those that aren't, so.
So 14th, 1 to 4, you say? And the 15th,
After 4 or later, right?
right.
And
I could
16th,
probably try to, I could probably get here a little bit earlier than that. I should be wrapped up in Lowell by about, I would say 12:30. I think it's 2 hours to get me down here.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just go fast.
depends on whether he stops for a bar pizza, though.
Correct, that's right.
So, let's say I left at 1, I could be here at, I'd say 3 o'clock. So why don't we say 3 o'clock on
15th?
15th? Yep,
Yeah.
so that's 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay,
That gives us 7 slots total. Okay?
Okay.
should we leave any wiggle room for people that are unavailable on either the 14th or 15th, or is that their,
I don't think that'll be a problem.
Okay.
But if we need to, if I run into that, I think we'll have enough time to then
Okay.
get back to you and say, look at the 16th.
okay. All right, that works for me.
On the 15th, should we stay later and discuss?
Yes.
Try to make that decision?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay,
while it's fresh in your minds.
okay, well, I think though, that pretty much checks off all the boxes of items in the public session. Was there any other items that we need to deal with in the open meeting? Shauna has been a good teacher to me in indicating such that we are going to go into executive session. When we come out of executive session, the only thing we will do will be to adjourn the regular meeting. So we will not have any public meeting following the executive session, correct?
Correct.
So I will take a
So moved.
motion. There you go. Motion to go into
Second.
executive
You-
session.
you-
We have a motion and a
Can
second.
you read that? Just for the purposes of stating the reason? of
Ah,
executive
okay.
session?
Oh, boy, this is, sometimes it's right in front of my eyes. We are going to be entering into executive session pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A8, to review resumes and consider or interview applicants for employment or appointment by a preliminary screening committee for selection of finalists to be presented to the Select Board for possible appointment as town administrator. To have the discussion in open session would be detrimental to the ability of the town to attract qualified candidates and applicants for the position. And we will, as I indicated, we will not be returning to the open session. We had a motion and a second. All those in favor going into executive session?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Roll call?
We have to
Oh,
say,
we have to do a roll call, that's right.
Aye, Jake McWigan.
aye, Christopher Dunn.
Aye, Susan Brayton.
Aye, Cindy Brown.
Hi, Craig Dutra.
And do we have an additional member of the committee who was
This
not
is it.
present?
This-
Okay, so the school
Michelle
committee
is not.
okay, all right. So we have unanimous vote, all those present and all those on the committee. Thank you very much. We're now in executive session.